Hello and welcome again to this week's edition of FPLTIPZ livestream. Thank you all for coming. Whoever's here, numbers don't look that high tonight, but hopefully some more will come in due course. Before we start, I just want again to give a shout out to my sponsor, Fantasy Football Factory. With the code FFF 10% FPLTIPZ, you'll get 10% off every order and a free pen with every order you make. Their website is there down below, www.fantasyfootballfactory.co.uk. Make sure to go and check them out. And yeah, so let's get into it. Say hello if you are in the chat tonight. Who have we got here? Who is in watching? Let me, just before we get started, anyway, actually, let's get into it. Just before we get started, I have so about next week's streams, just everyone who tunes in afterwards, there will be a stream, as you see, because it's a Monday and Tuesday game week. It will probably be on Thursday next week, unless I decide to do a live Wednesday stream, a live stream with the matches on, but I think that's unlikely. It will probably be on Thursday at the same time. As well as this, I'll be doing a sort of, I suppose it's a live stream on Tuesday because I'll record it live. Just me talking about the blank and double game weeks coming up. So I will spend probably 10-15 minutes, just a quick video, so that you all have some information on what's going to be happening with these game weeks coming up. That will be recorded on Tuesday at the normal time, probably at 7 o'clock. We have a 6:45 deadline, so I might talk about that game week a little bit at the end of it, but it will mainly be just sort of an informational video, discussing what to do with the blank and double game week. So yeah, that's next Tuesday. It's next Tuesday because, let me turn that down. It's next Tuesday because we have cup matches. So we have the cup on Thursday for the Carabao Cup, and then FA Cup at the weekend. So by Tuesday we should know the cup draws for the FA Cup. Yeah, they'll happen on Monday night. So we'll know a lot more about who's likely to blank and who's not. So yeah, so hopefully by then I'll be able to give you a good overview of what is happening in the coming game weeks. So guys, say hello. So let's get into it. Let's first talk about my team. I mean, a great week for me this week, 77 for me. As you can see, my midfield doing most of the business, Rashford helping out as well, and a little bit from Jimenez. My defence scoring a total of, including my defenders on my bench, my 5 defenders scored a total of 0 points, which was just brilliant. Fernandes, for some reason, wasn't even in the squad. He doesn't always play, but it would have been nice to have him. They got a clean sheet. Wan-Bissaka, I didn't want to start. Trent Alexander-Arnold, I had starting, but I wasn't very hopeful that he was going to play. Doherty benched, wasn't great, and Dean an own goal. I mean, there's not much you can do about that. Those things happen. Luckily for me, my midfield and attack did enough to bring me back to a very, very good score, which sees me at an overall rank of 56,000 now, which again is a 20k green arrow. I'm very pleased with that. Moving up. I know I've got a bad week coming. I've had about 5 weeks on the trot now. I've just gone up and up. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm very pleased with the way things are going and the way my team is looking. So am I banking my transfer? So I will show you now my team for next week. So there we go. That should be showing up now. my plan to have my team for next week. I've got a few things in mind. Sorry, I've got a few things in mind. So firstly, I want to get Robertson in over the next couple of weeks. Now, I was going to take a -4 and do it this weekend for Fernandez, but I thought he'd play. So, I mean, it would have gained me 1 point because it would have been a -4. So I would have got 81, but I would have taken a -4, or 82 and I've taken a -4. So it didn't make much difference this week. Whether I do it this week or next week, I'm not entirely sure. He'll most likely be coming in for Ding, is the plan at the moment. And then Fernandez will be being sold as well to make way for a defender who doesn't have a double game week, who plays in all the blank game weeks. So Robertson in for Ding. I just will need to decide whether I bring him in this week or I wait and do it next week. But that's the plan. Captain on Salah again, no brainer. I'm not even going to think about moving it. I'm not even going to think at all about moving it. I'm just going to leave it there. I mean, the temptation to put it on someone else, I mean, is actually quite low. I suppose Pogba or Rashford, but it has to be Salah for me this week. So yeah, it will be staying on him. Other people I'm looking to transfer out. So I'll get to Man City and Sane in a minute. And there's been a lot of talk on Twitter about him. But Ding and Richarlison really aren't performing at the moment, so at least one of them is going, and I think both of them probably will. Richarlison, I was following the South Korea game today because Heung-min Son was playing in it, and if they lost, they would have been knocked out, and Son would have come back early from the Asia Games. It went extra time, but South Korea won 2-1. They play again on Friday, but I think it's against Iraq, unless Iraq beat Qatar. But I'm pretty sure it's against Iraq. I can have a look. But yeah, I imagine they'll go and win that. Oh, Qatar beat Iraq, so it's against Qatar. I mean, you'd really expect them to go and win that game. I'm sure it's against Qatar. So you'd expect them to win that. So I expect them to be out for a while longer. So Richarlison stays for now, but Richarlison to Son is the plan. Hello, Lyle. Welcome. Thank you for dropping by. We're just getting into it. Hopefully, there'll be some more people to spark a bit of discussion, but looks like quite a quiet night tonight. But anyway, we'll move on to my discussion on my Man City attackers. I want to talk. The reason I made it Man City attackers, not just Sane, is because I'll talk a little bit about Aguero and what I think will happen with him. But so to start with, I think Sterling has to be the best option at the moment. He's being outscored by Sane, but with the thought of Mendy coming back, Mendy can easily come into the team for one game to give Sane a rest. And I'm not saying, and I'll get to what I think will happen when they both play or they're both fully fit and what Pep said today in a minute, but if I was having one, it would be Sterling. And it always will be, I think. I just, even I was going to captain one, I'd still captain Sterling, even though if I knew Sane was going to start. I just think Sterling is, I don't know why I have it in my mind that he's more consistent because he's not being at the moment, but he's the one for me. In terms of Aguero, I tweeted out on Sunday before the team news, that I don't understand why people thought Aguero would be benched for Jesus. He came back from he missed an illness, and yes, Jesus scored twice, but he was never going to leave out his attacker, his best striker for the third game running. That was never going to happen. With the busy schedule, we know Aguero can't play that many games. He can't play all the games that City are going to have, still being in all competitions. So Jesus will have to come and play some games, and I reckon Aguero plays less games than Sterling does. And probably similar to the amount Sane will. So I'm not a huge fan of Aguero at the moment, especially with the form Jesus is in. I wouldn't be looking to necessarily bring in Aguero. He is not the Man City player that I would be having in my team. Any of you got any questions? I'm happy to answer them. I'll just continue to talk. Unless you've got any questions, I'll just continue to go through what I've got. Let me just put it in the chat. Let me just tweet it out one more time, this stream, because it does seem a bit quiet today. I don't know why exactly. Yeah, so next we'll go on to Mendy and Sane. So let me just finish my topic on my Man City attackers right now. So Sane against Mendy. We've known from today that Mendy is returning and he'll be in the squad against Burton. Now, something I got wrong today that I didn't quite realise. Being in the squad doesn't mean that he'll necessarily be in the 15. They take a squad of 20 or something to the match, and then or 18 or something, and then they'll pick. So Mendy, from what he said, is unlikely to be on the bench. He's unlikely to be on the bench. So that means I think he's unlikely to start against Newcastle. I think that's pretty safe. I don't think he's, and then also I don't think he's going to play against Newcastle. He might be on the bench. And then he went on to say in his press conference that he's returning to train with the squad, and he'll be in the squad against Burton, but he won't be back to full fitness until the end of the season. So from what I get from that is he's going to be, and what people have been saying is he's going to be like Mendy will be playing a similar role to how De Bruyne has for the past sort of month or so, month and a half, is that he will be playing, but he will be playing to give people a rest, to give the people who are fully fit a rest. Like De Bruyne has been playing at the moment, kind of to give Bernardo Silva and David Silva their rests, because they're the first team players at the moment, because they're fully fit and De Bruyne isn't. So Mendy will be there. He'll play 1 in 3 or 1 in 2 games. And now Sane will play every game that Mendy doesn't, I imagine, and some of the games that he does. He probably plays 2 out of 3 now, and at the moment he's playing 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 5. So yes, it is a drop in the number he's going to play, and it will affect his minutes. There's no doubt about it. We've seen from the stats that having Mendy in the team affects Sane's minutes. But it doesn't always affect his output. It affects his minutes, and so the games he doesn't play, he can sometimes get 10 minutes, and that will affect him. But when he does come on to play, and if you look at the points he scored, the games he plays, if anything, he scores more than the games he then. If he played every game, he'd score. We've seen him scoring 10, 8 every week. Before when Mendy was here, he was scoring 14 a game. So he scores 14, then 2. It's still 16 points. That's still averaging 8 a game week, which you would take. I mean, yes, you'll see him scoring 2 half the time, but if he could score 10 the other time, then I would be keeping him. For now, I keep him on the grounds of, one, he can't drop someone playing as well as Sane is. I mean, that's the main thing. And secondly, don't sell someone until you're proven that they need selling. I made a problem last year when I bought Hazard. I thought he was back and he played off the bench last season for about 4 games. I had him and he scored me 1 point in each. And the philosophy goes, I shouldn't have bought him without knowing that I needed to buy him. And that ruined my season from the off. It was about game week 4 and I did it, and that was 10 million I had on practically on the bench every week. So yeah. Just wait on Sane, keep him in your team. Maybe don't look to buy him yet. They've got tough fixtures. They've got Newcastle away, Chelsea, Arsenal at home, followed by a blank week. But yeah, for now, Sterling is the one. If you're going to buy one, buy Sterling. Don't sell Sane. And I wouldn't be looking for Aguero, no. So, sorry. Richie to Mane. Now, I think that's a good move because Richarlison isn't performing at all and Mane is better. Yes, I think that's probably a good move. And there aren't people in that bracket with the Spurs situation when I'll get to from point 2 that I'd want from Spurs. So, yes, that's a good move. Do you have a plan for the blank double game weeks that's coming up? So, Lyle, as I said, next week we know that there's a Monday and a Tuesday deadline. So there's matches on Tuesday and Wednesday. So I can't do my usual Tuesday stream to plan for the next game week. So as you can see in the bottom corner, my next stream was likely to be next Thursday at 7:30. So that will be my stream to plan for game week 25, which will be. But on that Tuesday when I normally stream, I'm going to take that opportunity to do a 10-15 minute stream, which will be blank and double game week only. Blank and double game week questions only, and I will only talk about that. So I can put out a video for you all to refer to, when you need about the plan. The reason I'm doing it on Tuesday and not this week is because we're likely to hear more about the double game weeks and blank game weeks on Monday and over the weekend when the next round of the Cup has taken place. And we'll know who's more likely to play. So Tuesday at 7:30, next Tuesday, I'll be doing a 20-minute stream where I will talk you through strategies and the best way to plan and the way I will be playing these game weeks. Because if for someone like us that is able to plan for these game weeks, it really can help you in those latter part of the season when someone who doesn't know what's coming and plans too late will end up taking a lot of points hits. So it can give us a real edge. So that's why I'm doing it, and I hope it will help. I'm sure it will help me clear my head as well about what my plan is. But yeah, that's Tuesday at 7:30. Will be my double game week, blank game week video, live stream. So you need to start 2 of Lindelof, Ding, Doherty, and Wan-Bissaka. Thinking Lindelof and Ding, but Doherty is first sub, Wan-Bissaka second, and Camarasa third. I don't know about Camarasa, but in terms of them, I've got a similar situation. Apart from I don't have Lindelof, I have Trent. Oh, and you only need to start 2 of them. Okay, so Wan-Bissaka I'm benching on the grounds that Southampton something is. Let me. Sorry. Sorry, I don't really want that in my chat. Let me put you in a timeout. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. So, in terms of them, yeah, I'm benching Wan-Bissaka because there's obviously something going on at Southampton, and I think that they will perform. I'd be surprised if they didn't score, and so for that reason, I'm benching. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah, so for that reason, I'm benching Wan-Bissaka. In terms of the others, Lindelof has Burnley at home, so you'd have to start him. And then it's a shootout between Ding and Doherty. And that is a really tough one because you don't know how West Ham are going to perform and you just don't know how Everton are going to perform. That is a toss of a coin. If I had to pick one, I'd probably go for Doherty because he's had a rest, but that's about the only grounds I've got to go on. Huddersfield away under a new manager actually could be a good one. You don't know how they're going to perform. So yeah, maybe Ding actually is a better option, but Wolves at home, the home fixture. So that is a 50-50 toss of a coin and you could get it, most likely you'll get it wrong. Not because of you making bad decisions. Seems to be how FPL goes. If you have a 50-50 decision, you will get it. It seems to be the way that you seem to get it wrong most of the time. So now we'll move on to Spurs and what I think should be done. Well, what should we be doing? Buy, selling, and holding. As we know, Ali is now being injured. We've heard today until March, which is a similar length of time that Kane will be out. Ali might be out for slightly longer. I think. I don't know why. I think because of his slightly later injury. I think he'll be slightly later, but it's both March time, and Son will be back. Middle of February, late February. Sorry, yes, Zebra, I'd have that as my bench order, yeah. Whoever you're going to, out of those two would be first, yeah, because I'd consider starting both of them. Yeah, so I imagine you've got Robertson as your other one. So, yeah, when Son comes back, he'll be straight into my team. And even if they had all their players, Son would be straight into my team. I think Spurs are going to struggle at the moment, I really do. Lucas Moura is one to consider for the next, until March, because I imagine he'll get a lot of minutes. He's just returning to full fitness now. So, but at the moment, Eriksen is consistent, and he is. He scored over the past 5 weeks. He scored 6 points a game week. 6 points a game week, which is great. But 9.5 million on a team which is lacking all three of its best strikers or best attackers. Do you really want to invest that much? So at the moment, I would really advise looking elsewhere. Lamela a possible option, he is, but I think there's better options at his price. I really just would stay clear. We really saw how they struggled at the weekend. Lamela didn't do very much. He was all right, but I just would stay clear of them all. I really would. They seem to be wanting to play wing backs because they don't have enough attackers to play. So someone like Trippier could really need to be key for them. So here's another option for you. But I would consider not getting any of them. I'd really stay clear of Spurs until Son comes back, and he'll be going straight into my team. Welcome, Eric. Evening. Welcome. Thank you for coming by. So next is the term essential, and it gets thrown. He's getting that term has been thrown around. You know, it gets thrown around a lot over on Twitter about this player's essential. This player's essential, and at the end of the day, no one is essential, but some players prove to be you need to do pretty well not to have them. Any news on Higuain? I mean, I've tried to keep up with all the Chelsea news. As you know, I'm a big Chelsea fan. But it was very big before the Chelsea game, before the Arsenal game. And now it has gone quiet. I mean, I imagine it's going to take place, but we have until tomorrow, midday, to get it done. Because everyone was saying, they're going to get it done last Friday so we could play them against Arsenal. And that didn't happen. And so you thought, it'll go through later that day or on Monday or something. Nothing's happened. And then yesterday we had Morata basically confirmed out. So, and the new Milan striker confirmed into them. So we know he's coming, but it just seems like nothing seems to be happening. I mean, it will happen. When it's going to happen, I hope it's done by next game because we really need a striker, but we have to wait and see. He will be coming. I'm 90%, 99% certain of that, but we'll have to wait and see. Don't bring him in. Well, you can't bring him in just yet. Anyway, my back. Ooh. So you have Jimenez, Wilson, Ings, and Richarlison at the moment. I'm benching Richarlison. What do you suggest? Who do Bournemouth have? Let me get up my fixtures a moment. Bournemouth have Chelsea at home. You're benching him over Richarlison. I'd probably bench Wilson. I mean, last season they came to the Bridge and beat us 3-0, and I was there, and it was a dreadful game, and it was very sad. I'd probably still bench Wilson as a Chelsea fan, but I wouldn't blame you for starting him the way we're playing. Arsenal very hit and miss. Yeah, he is frustrating. He can do a lot. my cheap striker would be Firmino, and that would be planning ahead to the double game weeks and the way he's playing. So for me, Firmino is the one I'd be getting in. But I'll talk more about that on Tuesday. But Firmino is the one I'd be getting in. Chelsea suck because Sarri is playing Kante and Hazard out of their main position. Right. There is a lot of talk about what Chelsea are doing right and what Chelsea are doing wrong at the moment. And I am the first to admit, and I talk to my brother a lot about what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong. Hazard out of position isn't the problem. We could play Hazard at striker and win every game. That is possible. It's the players that we have to play at left wing and right wing that we do not have the quality to play three wingers, basically. Hazard at striker isn't as effective, but Hazard playing at striker is not the problem. We need a striker because when Alonso gets the ball on the wing, or Azpilicueta gets the ball on the wing, we have no one to cross to. Hazard playing at striker can create enough chances to score goals, but there are plenty of times in the game that it restricts us. So we could... I find it quite hard to describe. I think it's because the style of play that we're playing is we put it out to the wings, right? So we give it to Hazard on the wings, who then gives it to Alonso, who looks to put a cross in. And our one player in the box is Kante. And then that's pointless. If our one player in the box is Higuain, then it's fine. Or if we play Hazard up front and play through the middle and pass on our way through, then that would work better than it is now. So Hazard up front is not the issue. And Kante in his new position, again, is not a slight issue. I am not a Jorginho fan, right? I don't understand what he does better than I could do. I understand that person in that position, Kante cannot play in that position because he's the maestro. It needs to be the maestro. He picks the passes, does this, does that. Jorginho has made 2,000 passes this season, not one assist. Not one. He's had one goal, and it was from the penalty spot. And doesn't take penalties anymore. So I don't understand what he does that I couldn't do. I personally think we should play two holding midfielders and play Kante to break up the play and play Jorginho and play a Cam. I think it'd be interesting to play Willian in that third midfield role because I don't think he's good enough on the wing, but I think it would be interesting, but that will never happen. But I won't talk about Chelsea all night, but that striker will help because it will give us someone to aim for. The reason it didn't work with Morata, one, because Morata can't finish and he's very low on confidence. And then he's very low. Yeah, William very low on confidence. Sorry, who was I talking about? Morata's very low on confidence. But also, he's the type of striker that isn't going to muscle off a defender to win a header. He will try and get in a gap and win a header, which we saw last season. But now people are getting tight to him when he's not winning headers. So hopefully Higuain will bring some strength to up front. And hopefully Callum Hudson-Odoi stays and we play him on the other wing with Hazard and Higuain. And Ruben Loftus-Cheek at Cam, hopefully, but God knows what's going to happen there. So Hazard only... I think Willian is a bit of the problem. Yeah, he's very old. Don't fancy Arsenal, no. Captain Alba, though. That could work. Cardiff at home, they're not looking great. Higuain is basically Lukaku. Not quite. I think he's better than Morata. And people saying he's scored less goals, he's done less of this and less of that. He's a better option than Morata. Say what you want. Morata is awful. I really am happy to see the back of him. So he is an answer, but he's not the long-term answer. He's a short-term fix. It's like putting a piece of blue tack over a hole or a piece of tape over a hole. Eventually that hole will reappear and you'll have to buy a new bucket. But at the moment, he's the best that we could sign. I liked Callum Wilson, but he wasn't going to go. 70 million for Callum Wilson seemed like a lot. So we'll see what happens in the coming days. I'm sure I'll keep you posted on any Chelsea news that I hear. But yeah, I think But yeah, I think signing Higuain will be a real help for Chelsea. So Zebra, I'll get to that in a minute. Just before I do, I'm going to do one of those quick. It will be quick this time, but hashtag FPLTIPZ24 is the hashtag. So tweet out your team. Tweet out your team with that hashtag, and I'll get to rating it in a bit. So yeah, as he said, it depends on the Carabao Cup. We don't know yet. City are almost guaranteed. Burton aren't going to beat City 10-0, are they, or 9-0? So the second leg is on Thursday, and the winner, Spurs won the first one 1-0, and so whoever wins the second leg overall on aggregate will go through, and then they will have a blank game week in 27. Now, these game weeks could be moved to as early as 25, but we don't know yet. We will not know until after these games this week, so we might know early next week, or even on Friday when these games are going to be rescheduled too. But we don't know yet. But yes, they will have one of them will have a double game week, and so will Man City, and so will Everton. The Chelsea teams that they're playing are not good in 27, so you'll be unlikely to have them. Let me just read them out to you. Fixtures and results, 27. So Chelsea have Brighton, so not great, and Spurs have Burnley. I mean, unlikely you'll have either Brighton or Burnley players. But yeah. So tweet out your teams there, and I'll get back to you. So yeah, only in terms of essential at the moment. And you'll be a bit late if you're jumped on Pogba and Rashford. You need at least one. I'm sorry, but you do. The way they're playing. Zebra, you can send it if you want. And I can look at your transfers, but you don't have to. It's completely up to you. No one has to send their team. It's just if you want me to have a look at it. And I can comment on it and we can discuss it. And people in the chat can give their thoughts, but you don't have to. So essential, yeah. I think going forward, you really need Salah, Pogba or Rashford, if not both, and a Liverpool defender. The rest is up in the air. Most people will have a City mid, and they look good again, and they'll look like they'll be chasing the league this time, so they'll need to win. But again, nothing is essential, and I'm not a fan of the term. It's a bit like there are two terms that people use: essential and coverage. There's no point having cover of a team. Don't buy a player just because he plays for Man City. Don't buy a player just because he plays here, right? If you think owning Sterling and Sane is a better option than if you think Sterling is a better option than Salah, and they'll score more points, but you already own Sane, don't buy Salah because you have one from each team. Let's say Salah. This isn't a good example, but buy Sterling because you think he'll score more points. Buy the player you think scores more points. Captain the player you think scores most points. I understand on the captaincy, it's slightly different because I captained Salah this week because I knew I'd get Sterling and Sane's points and they would be my differentials anyway. And a lot of people would have Salah and it ended up being the right choice. That's why I went for him. But there's no such thing as essential and you don't need to have coverage from every team. Just pick the players you think will score the most points. There is reasoning to why people have coverage because you think they must get involved, but it's not the case. Just pick the players you think will score the most points. You could have a team all under 10% owned, technically, and still score the same amount of points as someone has the whole template squad, which is forming. But anyway, captaincy picks. This week, I mean, if you don't have Salah, Salah is my captaincy pick. There were quite a lot this week, I think. Salah, Aubameyang is another good one. Aubameyang at home to Cardiff is a great one. And people will, I think he'll get quite a high percentage compared to normal. Salah will get the most armbands. City, Newcastle away. Newcastle, I'd be wary of that fixture. Newcastle sit back a lot and they are often and regularly difficult for top teams to break down. I wouldn't captain your City assets this week. I'd be wary of it. I'd rather go for a Man U, Burnley at home. I really think they are great options. I'd be looking to my captaincy picks this week. Salah, Pogba over Rashford. Pogba takes an unbelievable amount of shots. So Salah, Pogba, or Aubameyang. If you don't have one of them in your team, I don't quite know who you do have in your team. Chelsea, Hazard, Bournemouth away could pay off, but those three are my main ones. But yeah, anyone new who is watching, we got 7 of you watching in here, so thank you all for watching. I'll just mention again that on Tuesday, I will be doing a double game week, blank game week only stream. So it'll be 20 minutes, and I'll talk about the strategies that you could play and everything. And I'll completely change the layout of my stream, and I will have just blank and double game week stuff, and we'll go through that, and it'll be something that you can all refer to going forward, and hopefully we'll have more information by Tuesday because of the FA Cup this weekend. But yeah, none of you have tweeted out your team, which is absolutely fine. I don't expect you all to need my advice every week. I feel like I've done quite well recently, up to 56k. I tweeted out a picture of my rank going down and down the past few weeks, which has been really great to see. Some good weeks. But yeah, guys, get any more questions that you'd have in. I talk about slightly on my my long-term thinking for my team. Just while you do, get your final questions in, guys, if you don't want to tweet out your teams. Final questions, guys. I'll keep checking if someone tweets out a picture. But so this week I'm thinking of starting Button Fabianski. If Fabianski is confirmed to have no blank game weeks and he plays every week because West Ham go out of the cup, then I will keep Fabianski. If he doesn't, then I'll have to sell him because the way things are going, the way I plan on doing it, and I'll talk more about it, is that I'll need a lot of non-blanking players in my team. But yeah, Fabianski, at the moment, I'm starting Button because I think Wolves are more likely to score than Fulham. But as well, I don't want to start Jimenez and Fabianski. It seems a bit... I don't like starting an attacker against a defender because only one of them is going to get you points, pretty much. So... yeah, Wan-Bissaka first on the bench. The other two aren't playing any minutes at all, so they are. I'm just hoping rotation doesn't get me too hard, but it doesn't seem to be doing too badly. So yeah, those are my thoughts for the moment. So we've got a couple of teams tweeted out, so I'll just do them now, and then that'll probably be it for today's stream. So let me just do this order. There you go, you should be able to see now. So first of all, we'll go for Zebra's team. 2 free transfers to the bank, doing Kane to Higuain ASAP. Any problems with the... Okay, I'm not quite sure about Higuain. I mean, I think it'll be about 9.5, 10 million. So it's cheaper than Hazard. And it could be an early differential that could prove well. Any problems with your team? No, I'd look to sell Ding relatively soon. And maybe, or you've already got double Liverpool defence. To be honest, I'd look at bringing in, do Ding to Pereira, because I know Pereira's fixtures are awful and he can sit on your bench, but he is going to be one that will be great long term for the blank game week. So that could be something to look at. But yeah, Kane out needs to happen. Boric is a good one to have actually, because he seems to be taking the first team spot after they conceded 14 times in 4 games, Bournemouth. They swapped keepers and they kept their first clean sheet they've had in a long time. So yeah, Boric is a good one. Kane out. 1 free transfer needed this week. So, Lyle, your team looks nice. I'm not entirely sold on Ings, and if you could do Ings to... Right, let me just take a whole look at the team. So, I would look to do Ings and Keane to... I don't know how much you have in the bank. 1.5. He's 5.5, 6, 7, 1.5. If you can do Keane and Ings to Bednanak and Rashford, that would be something that I would consider. Because you've got Holebas, Pereira on your bench. You don't need to necessarily do it this week, maybe wait a week. You've got Richarlison on your bench as well. So Ings doesn't really need to start every week, I suppose. So maybe even downgrading Ings so you can upgrade elsewhere. you've got a lot of strength on your bench is basically what I'm trying to say. You don't need that much strength, and maybe downgrading players. But when you look to sell players, if you're going to downgrade Holobas, look, and I'll talk about it on Tuesday, look to bring in players. Don't just sell him for, oh, he's a cheap option. Don't just think Holobas, oh, I'll bring in this person because he's cheap and he's got some returns. We need to be thinking now about the double and blank game weeks. But I'll get to that on Tuesday. But your team looks good. It really does. There's not much I'd change. Maybe starting Richarlison over Wilson. I think Richarlison's due a return. But apart from that, you look good. Yeah, the only thing is we don't know what role Pereira will play when they get a new manager, which I imagine will happen when they don't look good. Something looks wrong at Leicester. But anyway, let me just click refresh on that. And if no one's tweeted it out, then we'll come back here. And yeah, guys, so get your... There we go. So yeah, guys, thank you very much. I'll say thank you while you get any final questions you have. Thank you very much for coming by again, and you'll get 2 streams from me next week, as I've said hundreds of times. Tuesday, the double and blank game week one. Yes, I do have a Mac. How do you know that? Is it by the... How do you know I have a Mac? Is it by the banner on the previous page? I don't know. Let me know how you know that, Zebra. That's Captain Salah. You just keep it on Salah. So anyway, yeah, 2 streams next week. Tuesday at 7, just after the deadline. Remember, 6:45 Tuesday deadline. But yeah, stream on Tuesday will be my blank and double game weeks, followed by Thursday, which will be my normal stream. Looking forward to game week 25. But as always, check out my sponsor. Message me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. Message me down in the comments below if you've got any questions, or on Instagram or anywhere, and I'll do my best to answer. But anyway, thank you all for watching, and this will be uploaded to YouTube soon if you want to watch it again. But thanks, guys. Have a good week, all of you. Bye.